What if the very ability that makes you intelligent is also what condemns you to suffer more deeply? It begins quietly, not with chaos, but with a thought. A small thought, harmless at first. But then it grows. It multiplies, expands, and begins to question everything around it. You're lying in bed at night. The lights are off. The world is asleep. But your mind refuses to rest. It keeps asking why. Why do people act the way they do? Why is there beauty and cruelty in the same breath? Why does existence feel both meaningful and meaningless? This is the paradox of thought, the curse of consciousness. The same mind that allows you to understand the universe also shows you how fragile it all is. Dostoevsky understood this torment. He believed that intelligence, true intelligence, was inseparable from suffering. Because to think deeply is to peel back the comforting illusions that shield most people from despair. Ignorance is warmth. Awareness is exposure. And once you've seen the machinery behind human existence, the chaos, the contradictions, you can't unsee it. You realize the truth. The more awake you are, the less peace you find. But would you trade that awareness for comfort? Could you willingly fall back into the dream, knowing it's a dream? Most intelligent people can't. And so they live with the ache of clarity, seeing too much, feeling too much, and belonging nowhere completely. Introducing Notes from Underground and the Self-Aware Man. In Notes from Underground, Dostoevsky gives life to a man who sees everything too clearly, the underground man. He's not a villain. He's not even truly bitter. He's just awake. He watches society parade its morals and its progress, and he can't help but laugh bitterly. He sees people chasing comfort and calling it happiness, mistaking conformity for goodness. He says, "I am a sick man, a spiteful man." But his sickness is not physical, it's existential. It's the illness of seeing too much truth. He's aware of his own contradictions, the desire to connect, the fear of being seen. He wants love, yet despises the naivety that love requires. He mocks others, yet envies their simplicity. He thinks too deeply to act freely, and feels too deeply to stay indifferent. The underground man represents the modern intellect, the one cursed by reflection. He cannot live simply because simplicity feels false. He knows every emotion is layered with ego, insecurity, and illusion. And that knowledge isolates him. He stands apart from the crowd not by choice, but by consequence. Because once you begin to see through things, it becomes hard to believe in them again. That's the tragedy of awareness. It liberates you from illusion, but imprisons you in solitude. Why intelligent people often struggle to belong. Imagine walking through a crowded street, surrounded by laughter, music, and chatter, but feeling like you're made of glass. Everyone moves through the rhythm of life effortlessly, while you stand there wondering what rhythm even means. Intelligent people often feel this disconnection, a quiet sense of alienation that doesn't come from arrogance, but from perception. They see layers where others see surfaces. They sense irony in joy, sadness in humor, complexity in simplicity. And because of that, belonging feels like pretending. They try to engage in small talk, but their mind drifts to metaphysics. They laugh, but inside they're analyzing the nature of laughter itself. They fall in love, but a small voice whispers questions about the illusion of permanence. And soon, the world begins to feel shallow, or maybe they begin to feel too deep for it. Dostoevsky saw this too. His characters, Raskolnikov, Ivan Karamazov, the underground man, are all brilliant, self-aware, and profoundly lonely. They crave meaning in a world that rewards simplicity. Society, after all, doesn't value depth, it values functionality. It doesn't want you to think too much. It wants you to perform, to fit, to follow. So the intelligent often retreat, not out of pride, but exhaustion. They become observers rather than participants. And the more they observe, the further they drift from the warmth of life itself. In their minds, they hold galaxies, but in their hearts, they carry silence. When introspection turns against itself. At first, introspection feels noble. You analyze your thoughts, your emotions, your motives. You dig deeper, wanting to understand. But soon, it becomes endless, a labyrinth with no exit. You begin questioning your own questions, analyzing your own analysis. Every decision fractures into 1,000 possibilities. And somewhere in that spiral, you lose the ability to simply be. You become like a painter who can no longer see colors, only brushstrokes and technique. You stop living the experience and start deconstructing it. Dostoevsky warned about this. The underground man overthinks to the point of paralysis. He can no longer act because action requires a kind of faith, and he has dissected faith into pieces. He says, to act, you need to be absolutely sure, but intelligence never allows you that luxury. The curse of overthinking is that it turns movement into fear. You see every consequence before it happens, every flaw before it's revealed. You start avoiding life, mistaking caution for wisdom. But what you're really doing is hiding behind analysis, behind reason, behind the comfort of detachment. Because to think deeply is to risk despair, but to live deeply is to risk heartbreak. And sometimes, the mind would rather stay safe in misery than venture into uncertainty. Overthinking becomes exile, a self-imposed distance between thought and life. You don't mean to separate yourself, but every new layer of understanding adds another wall between you and the world. But perhaps suffering isn't a curse. Maybe it's the beginning of something sacred. One night, after another endless stream of thoughts, the underground man realizes something profound, that suffering, for all its agony, is proof of consciousness. To suffer is to feel, to care, to be awake. And maybe the real tragedy isn't in suffering, but in never feeling deeply enough to suffer at all. Perhaps that's what Dostoevsky was trying to tell us, that pain is not punishment. It's initiation. It's the gateway through which meaning enters life. Because if awareness isolates us, it also invites us to understand compassion. If thought imprisons us, it also frees us from illusion. And if intelligence brings misery, it also brings the possibility of transcendence. The man who suffers deeply can also love deeply, forgive deeply, and see beauty where others see only routine. So maybe, just maybe, suffering isn't a curse. It's the beginning of something sacred. Existential fatigue in highly analytical minds. Imagine you could see through everything. The motives behind every smile, the fear behind every action, the impermanence behind every joy. At first, it might feel like a superpower. You see the patterns others miss. You read between the lines, understand the deeper mechanics of human behavior, of history, of existence itself. But slowly, the gift turns into gravity. Every new insight strips away a layer of innocence. The world doesn't look magical anymore. It looks mechanical, predictable, fragile. Dostoevsky once wrote, "It takes something more than intelligence to act intelligently." He understood that knowledge without balance becomes torment. Highly analytical minds often suffer from existential fatigue, not because they fail to understand, but because they understand too much. They see how fleeting happiness is, how morality shifts with culture, how human ideals contradict human nature. And when you see the grand illusion, it becomes difficult to play along. The conversations that once felt engaging now feel hollow. The pursuits that once felt important now seem trivial. The more you know, the heavier life feels, because awareness comes with the unbearable responsibility of meaning. The child who once marveled at the stars now knows they are distant balls of gas. Beautiful, yes, but cold and indifferent. This is the price of understanding. The deeper your mind goes, the lonelier it becomes. The imbalance that breeds emptiness. The intellect can dissect a feeling, but it cannot replace it. And this is where many intelligent people suffer. They live entirely in the mind, while the heart starves quietly beneath. They can articulate every theory of love, but struggle to feel it. They can analyze happiness, but rarely experience it without questioning its origin. They can debate morality, but forget how to forgive. This imbalance between intellect and emotion breeds a kind of existential emptiness. You become a master of understanding, but a beginner at being human. Dostoevsky's characters are filled with this tension. Ivan Karamazov, for instance, can reason through every theological argument, yet his heart rebels. He cannot accept a world built on suffering, no matter how logical the explanation. His intellect seeks justice, his soul seeks peace. And that's the human tragedy. The mind wants to know, but the heart wants to feel. When one grows louder than the other, we fracture inside. The truth is, intellect without empathy is sterile. It analyzes life from a distance, afraid to touch it. But emotion without intellect can be blind, easily led astray by impulse and illusion. Harmony comes when thought and feeling walk together. But for many thinkers, the mind races ahead while the heart lags behind, and the distance between them becomes unbearable. When awareness leads to despair, when you strip away illusion after illusion, what remains? For some, it's freedom. For others, it's emptiness. That emptiness has a name: nihilism, the belief that nothing truly matters. Dostoevsky feared nihilism more than poverty, more than pain. He saw it emerging in the 19th century, a cold philosophy born from too much intellect and too little faith. A world where meaning collapses under the weight of analysis. The nihilist sees through everything, through religion, morality, beauty, even love, until nothing sacred remains. They laugh at ideals, mock hope, and call despair realism. But beneath that laughter hides quiet despair. Because no human being can live without meaning. To believe in nothing is to turn every sunrise into routine, every emotion into chemical reaction, every relationship into coincidence. It's not enlightenment, it's erasure. The mind, when it loses faith in meaning, begins to consume itself. It becomes cynical, detached, weary. It observes life like a scientist studying decay. Dostoevsky wrote The Brothers Karamazov as a warning that if we destroy the sacred in the name of reason, we will end up worshiping our own despair. True intelligence isn't about dismantling belief. It's about confronting the void and choosing to create meaning anyway. That's courage. That's the rebellion Dostoevsky admired. Dostoevsky was not a man of blind faith. He doubted, wrestled, and raged against God more than any of his contemporaries. But it was precisely through that doubt that his faith became unbreakable. He didn't believe in spite of suffering. He believed through it. After being sentenced to death and then miraculously pardoned, Dostoevsky saw life as sacred precisely because it was fragile. He wrote, "Man is unhappy because he doesn't know he's happy." What he meant was this: awareness should deepen gratitude, not destroy it. The mind wants certainty. The soul only asks for wonder. Faith, to Dostoevsky, wasn't about answers. It was about humility before mystery. You don't have to understand life to find meaning in it. You only have to be willing to love it, even in its contradictions. That's the paradox of faith through doubt. To truly believe, you must first lose belief, and then rediscover it in your own way. Only then does it become real, not inherited, not forced, but chosen. Faith, in this sense, isn't religious dogma. It's a commitment to meaning, even when the world refuses to provide one. Knowledge breaks us, but in the cracks, light can enter. So maybe the problem isn't that we know too much. Maybe it's that we forget what to do with what we know. Understanding breaks us. It shatters the illusions that once made life simple. But in those cracks, something sacred can enter: compassion, humility, gratitude. The mind dissects the world. The soul learns to embrace it again. Perhaps wisdom is not the accumulation of knowledge, but the gentle art of carrying knowledge without losing wonder. Because in the end, it's not the ignorant who find peace. It's those who walk through the fire of understanding and come out softer, not harder. Dostoevsky would say, the broken mind is not a failure. It's a vessel, one that, once shattered, can finally hold the light. We've never been more connected and never felt more alone. It used to be that solitude was sacred, a space where the soul could breathe. Writers, thinkers, and dreamers sought silence as a kind of nourishment. But today, silence feels almost unnatural, an emptiness we rush to fill with sound, with screens, with constant motion. We say we're connected, and we are, technically. A tap can send words across oceans. A post can reach thousands. But somewhere in this infinite connection, the depth of human contact has thinned to something shallow and weightless. We no longer listen, we skim. We no longer think, we react. We no longer reflect, we refresh. Dostoevsky once wrote that man grows used to everything, and perhaps that's our tragedy. We've grown used to the noise. We no longer even notice it, the constant hum of distraction, the faint anxiety that hums beneath our days. We mistake stimulation for vitality, noise for meaning, visibility for worth. And in the process, depth, the very thing that makes us human, begins to fade. There's a quiet war happening, not over land or power, but over attention. Every ping, every headline, every ad is a hand tugging at your mind, whispering, "Look here. Don't think. Just keep scrolling." The world's most brilliant minds now work not to free our thoughts, but to occupy them. Algorithms learn our fears, our habits, our desires. They feed us fragments of pleasure, just enough to keep us hooked. We live in what could be called the distraction economy, a system built on fractured focus and endless craving. Our attention is the new currency, and the self is the collateral. But here's the hidden cost. When your mind is always reacting, it forgets how to reflect. When every silence is filled, you lose the ability to listen, not to others, but to yourself. Dostoevsky might have seen this coming. He believed that the human soul cannot live without meaning, and that when we replace meaning with comfort, we begin to die inside. The distraction economy gives us everything except the one thing we truly need: stillness. And without stillness, the soul cannot grow. We scroll for hours chasing stimulation, but what we're really looking for is connection, depth, understanding. And no algorithm can provide that. The machines have become clever, frighteningly so. They can write, draw, even simulate empathy. They can imitate human thought, but they cannot feel. And yet, we now turn to them for everything: for advice, for validation, for comfort. We've built artificial intellects, but in the process, we risk losing our own. We are surrounded by intelligence, but starved for wisdom. Surrounded by data, but detached from meaning. The digital age has made knowledge infinite and understanding scarce. Dostoevsky wrote about this long before the age of machines. In The Brothers Karamazov, he warned that when humans try to become gods, when they seek control without compassion, knowledge without conscience, they lose their soul. Our modern world embodies that prophecy. We have created tools that outthink us, but they cannot outfeel us. And yet, we are slowly trading feeling for efficiency, humanity for convenience. We measure life by metrics, likes, shares, engagement. But the soul doesn't speak in numbers. It speaks in silence, in meaning, in mystery, in what cannot be calculated. The irony is painful. As artificial intelligence rises, authentic intelligence, the kind born from struggle, empathy, and reflection, begins to fade. If Dostoevsky lived today, he would not need to invent the underground man. He would only need to open Twitter. He would see the restless scrolling, the constant opinions, the outrage cycles. He would see millions of people unable to sit still, unable to be alone with themselves. In Notes from Underground, the narrator admits, "I say let the world go to hell, but I should always have my tea." It's a haunting reflection of our own time, where comfort outweighs conscience, and convenience replaces contemplation. The man who cannot sit still is not a character anymore, it's a condition. We fear silence because silence confronts us with who we are. We fear stillness because it reminds us of everything we've avoided feeling. So we distract ourselves endlessly. We drown discomfort with dopamine. We replace solitude with scrolling. But Dostoevsky believed that it's in silence and suffering that we truly meet ourselves. When the noise fades, the truth emerges, raw, painful, and real. He would tell us that the man who cannot sit still is not free. He is enslaved, not by others, but by his own inability to face his inner world. If we cannot escape the noise, perhaps we must learn to find silence within it. Maybe we can't go back. Maybe the world will never be quiet again, not in the way it once was. But perhaps the solution isn't to flee the noise, but to transcend it, to build a silence not around us, but within us. Silence, in this new age, isn't absence, it's resistance. It's a rebellion against the constant pull of distraction. It's the decision to pause, to feel, to think, even when the world tells you not to. Because somewhere beneath all the chaos, all the connection, all the artificial noise, there's still a human soul, waiting to be heard. And that, Dostoevsky would say, is the real act of intelligence today. To remain human in a world that wants you automated. To remain still in a world that never stops moving. To remain deep in an age that celebrates the shallow. Pain by itself is chaos. It confuses, blinds, and consumes. But when we frame it, when we give it meaning, it becomes something else entirely. Meaning turns suffering into endurance. It turns despair into depth. It turns tragedy into understanding. Viktor Frankl, a man who survived the horrors of Auschwitz, once said, "In some ways, suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning." This is what Dostoevsky believed too, that pain without purpose is hell, but pain transformed into meaning is redemption. When he faced death by firing squad, when his sentence was commuted at the last second, he saw something that would define the rest of his life. That every second, every breath was a miracle. From that moment, he no longer saw suffering as a punishment, but as a privilege, the raw material from which the soul creates itself. To reframe pain is to reclaim power. It's saying, yes, I've suffered, but it will not be wasted. It will be turned into wisdom, into empathy, into art. Because meaning doesn't erase pain, it redeems it. Dostoevsky's life was a long dialogue with suffering. He lost his parents young. He lived in poverty, battled epilepsy, endured imprisonment, and faced the constant shadow of death. But through it all, he refused to become bitter. He transformed his pain into vision, his despair into compassion. He once wrote to a friend, "Suffering is the origin of consciousness." For him, every hardship was an invitation to look inward, to find in the ruins of his mind a light that no external comfort could provide. He didn't seek happiness, he sought wholeness. And wholeness, he believed, is born only when we stop running from our wounds and start learning from them. This is inner strength, not the hardening of a heart, but the softening of the soul. It's a quiet resilience that grows when you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" Pain is not the opposite of life. It's the heartbeat of growth. And every person who endures it with courage participates in a silent act of creation, the creation of self. In the modern world, peace has become a luxury. We chase it in vacations, retreats, distractions. But true peace is not found in the absence of chaos. It's found in the calm within it. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, understood this well. They believed that we cannot control the world, only our response to it. That life is suffering, but suffering is neutral. It's our interpretation that gives it power. When Dostoevsky spoke of faith and the Stoics spoke of reason, they were both reaching for the same truth. That serenity is not found in control, it's found in acceptance. To live as a modern Stoic is not to suppress emotion, but to anchor it. It's to stand in the storm and say, this too is part of the journey. The intelligent mind sees the chaos of the world, the cruelty, the absurdity, the noise, and wants to fix it. But the wise soul learns to remain still, to act with compassion without being consumed by despair. This is the balance we must learn. To care deeply, but not drown in caring. To feel pain, but not let it define us. To suffer honestly, but not forget to live. There's a Japanese art called kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery with gold. The cracks are not hidden, they're illuminated. Because in their philosophy, the flaw is the beauty. Dostoevsky would have understood that. He saw human beings as beautiful because they were broken, not in spite of it. Our cracks, our failures, our pain, our losses are the very places where light can enter. Perfection is sterile, but brokenness, that's where life breathes. Every time we survive something unbearable, we become both softer and stronger. Every scar becomes a story. Every wound becomes a doorway to empathy. The intelligent often suffer because they see the world's contradictions, the beauty and the brutality, the love and the loss, all at once. But if they can hold both without collapsing, they discover something miraculous. That the world's tragedy doesn't cancel out its beauty, it deepens it. The light becomes more precious because of the dark. The laughter becomes holier because of the tears. And in that realization, brokenness becomes sacred. The intelligent suffer not because they are broken, but because they see too much beauty and tragedy in the same frame. Dostoevsky's message was never one of despair, it was one of redemption. He didn't deny the darkness, he walked through it, candle in hand. He taught us that to think deeply is to suffer. Yes, but to suffer deeply is to awaken. The intelligent suffer not because they are broken, but because they see everything. The beauty, the cruelty, the tenderness, the loss, all intertwined. They live with the burden of clarity, the ability to see that love and pain are the same river, just flowing in opposite directions. And yet, this vision is not a curse. It's a gift. Because to see the world fully, to weep for its sorrow and marvel at its wonder, is to live fully. Redemption, then, is not the end of suffering. It's the moment we stop running from it and start understanding it. It's when knowledge becomes compassion, when pain becomes purpose, when awareness becomes love. Music swells gently. The candle flickers out, but the room is faintly glowing, not from light, but from presence. So if you too feel the weight of awareness, if you suffer not because you are weak, but because you see, remember, you are not lost. You are simply alive. And sometimes that is enough.